Wake up, Atlanta. It's time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Talk in the morning. Happy first of the month, everyone. Okay, so imagine this. You're stranded on a mysterious island after a helicopter crash, and your only way to survive is to ink your way through hordes of deranged fish creatures while hunting for treasure. That's Splatoon Raiders in a nutshell, and it's as wild as it sounds.
That's quite the setup. I mean, Splatoon has always been about chaotic multiplayer fun, but this sounds like a completely different beast. So what's the deal with this game? How does it stand out from the Splatoon we know?
Well, it's a single player, mostly roguelite adventure, which is already a huge departure from Splatoon's traditional multiplayer focus. You play as a helicopter pilot nicknamed Mechanic, who's ferrying treasure hunters Fry, Big Man, and Shiver to the Spiralite Islands. Everything's going fine until you see this massive beam of light shooting out of what looks like a hurricane. Naturally, disaster strikes, the helicopter crashes, and you're stranded. Fast forward a month and you've built a floating fortress with your crew. It's got everything you need except a way home.
That's such a fun premise. It's got that classic stranded adventurer vibe, but with Splatoon's quirky, colorful twist. So what happens next? Do you just dive into the treasure hunting right away?
Pretty much. You're hunting for treasure, collecting resources, and trying to figure out how to get back home. The gameplay feels instantly familiar if you've played Splatoon before. I started with the gyro controls, which I usually avoid, but they just work so well here. You're doing all the classic Splatoon things, inking up the environment, swimming through your ink, and collecting these things called mysterious shards. Movement in this game is such a joy. Even something as simple as surfing across the waves on a wooden plank feels amazing.
That's one of the things I've always loved about Splatoon. The movement is so fluid and satisfying. But what about the enemies? I heard the Salmonids are back?
Oh, they're back with a vengeance. The Salmonids start small, these little fishy critters that are more annoying than threatening at first. But they escalate quickly. The solution? Ink them up and paint over the goo they leave behind. Their goo is this hideous yellow color, probably smells awful, while your ink is this beautiful, vibrant green. It's oddly satisfying to clean up after them. And then there's this one salmonid called Salty Tongue, who looks like a chubby version of that hyena from The Lion King with the droopy tongue. I loved him immediately. Of course, he's still got the ink treatment.
Salty Tongue. That's hilarious. It sounds like they're really leaning into the humor and personality of the game. What about the gameplay mechanics? I heard there's a robot companion involved.
Oh, absolutely. One of the treasure hunters, Big Man, pilots this bot that's a total game changer. It's great in combat, but it also has these amazing exploration abilities. It can boost you up into the air so you can glide to new places, and when it lands, it splatters ink everywhere. It's incredibly satisfying. The bot's main trick, though, is its ability to drill into these big crystals to collect more mysterious shards and other goodies. The crystals shoot beams of light into the sky, so you always know where to find them. It's all about using your tools, whether it's the bot flowers that launch you into the air or your ability to swim through ink to navigate the environment and take down salmonids.
That sounds like such a fun gameplay loop. It's exploration, combat, and puzzle solving all rolled into one, and I like that they're giving you all these tools to experiment with. What about the progression system? Is there any customization?
Oh, there's a ton of customization. After each mission, you head back to your base to sort through your loot. You've got different ink tanks, speed, power, and tactical, and each one comes with unique gadgets. For example, the speed tank has this ability called Blast Boot, which lets you launch yourself into the air and land with a big splat that damages everything around you. The tactical tank has a turret-like gadget called the Shot Pot, and then there are gadget parts that you can use to enhance your abilities, like making explosions bigger, shortening cooldowns, or adding new effects. You can also level up to upgrade your health, weapon damage, and gadget slots. It's a lot, but it means you can really tailor your character to your play style.
That's awesome. I love games that give you that level of freedom to experiment and create your own build. And it sounds like there's a lot of variety in the gadgets and weapons.
There is. One of my favorites was the Power Tank's Spatalites. They orbit around you and spray ink everywhere. And then there are these bomb balloons called bomb loons that you can connect and detonate for massive damage. Plus, there are all kinds of weapons to collect, like the oil blaster and roller, which you can upgrade at your base. And let's not forget the Salmonid relics, which grant bonuses like a double jump or reduced ink consumption. It's a lot to take in, but it's all so fun to play around with.
It sounds like they've really nailed the balance between depth and accessibility. So what's the overall structure of the game? Is it mission-based?
Yeah, it's mission-based, but with a twist. It's actually a roguelite, which I wasn't expecting. You go out on missions, collect resources, and then head back to base to upgrade your gear and prepare for the next run. There's persistent progression, so even if you fail, you're still making progress, and the missions themselves are so varied. One minute you're exploring the islands, the next you're in these underground raids where you have to collect a certain number of salmonid eggs in a limited time. Those raids are intense. I thought I was doing pretty well until I hit one of those, and let me tell you, I got smoked. But it was a good kind of challenge. It forced me to refine my strategy and use all the tools at my disposal.
That sounds like such a rewarding experience. And I love that it's a roguelite. It gives you that sense of progression and discovery, but with the stakes of starting over if you fail. What about the multiplayer? I heard there's co-op.
Oh, there is, and it's fantastic. We only got about 10 minutes with it, but it was such a blast. Nothing really changes in co-op. It's the same gameplay, just with friends. But that's what makes it so fun. You've got all these gadgets and showstoppers popping off at once, and it's absolute chaos in the best way. I named my squid kid John Ink, and we just went to town. It's definitely my preferred way to play.
That sounds incredible. I can already picture the mayhem of 4 players inking everything in sight. So overall, what's your takeaway? Does Splatoon Raiders live up to the hype?
Absolutely. It's everything you'd want from a single-player Splatoon game and more. It's breezy, it's challenging, it's everything in between. The roguelite elements work so well, and the gameplay loop is just so satisfying. Whether you're hunting for treasure, battling salmonids, or just vibing at your base, there's always something fun to do. And the co-op is the cherry on top. I didn't know what to expect going in, but I had a great time. Splatoon Raiders is shaping up to be something really special.
That's so exciting to hear. It sounds like Nintendo has another hit on their hands. I can't wait to dive in and spill some ink myself.
You're going to love it. Just remember, the real treasure might just be the friends you make along the way.
Classic. All right, let's wrap it up here. Thanks for sharing your experience. It's got me hyped to play.
Anytime. Now, let's go find some mysterious shards.
Is Xbox breezing third-party Game Pass deals? Here's what's being said and why I don't buy it, says Jez Corden of Windows Central. Now, first things first, Windows Central is a Windows website. Windows is Microsoft. Microsoft is Xbox. This is not totally like, this is a, I don't want to say like friendly territory because that sounds overly dismissive than what I want. But like Jez has connections within Microsoft, and so I think that's just important to disclose at the outset. A report came out though, suggesting that Microsoft was freezing money for new third-party Game Pass deals, basically saying that, if Ubisoft wants to put one of their games on the platform, now Microsoft is not going to entertain that. That's at least what the rumor is at this point. So, as you can see, this initially started from Insider Gaming. They had a report that was mentioning this. It was recently claimed that Xbox is pausing or at least slowing down deals with third-party developers tied to the Game Pass subscription service. This latest revelation comes following a couple of weeks of bad press for Xbox, punctuated by layoffs, price increases, and difficult discussions around the future of the ecosystem. Specifically, what was mentioned, as you can see through here, they kind of break all this down. He stated they recently attended a trade show, and while their folks were chin-wagging about Game Pass deals, and some volatile terms were thrown around, including rug pull, kaboshed, and on pause. I don't think I've ever seen that written now. That's crazy. The quote was, quote, "I was at a trade show in Italy and had some nice lunches, some nice dinners with industry colleagues. Word on the street was that loads of people who were in the frame for Game Pass deals. You know, nothing was inked yet, but the deals were in advanced discussions. Everyone, or everybody, got the rug pulled out from under them." And this specifically was Shams Jorjani, maybe the CEO of Arrowhead, hosted by Fernando Rezo of Caboodle Games. And this is what they talked about. Now, I will say the trade shows, lunches, dinners, that's where you find out the real tea. That's where you find out the real dirt about the industry. Because it's people that are just chatting and having conversations, and they will let you know stuff that it will eventually hit the presses, but that's where you find out really, really cool stuff. So I totally buy that if he was going to hear about some of this stuff, you might hear about it over lunch at one of those events when somebody that works at a studio just off the cuff mentions that. Yeah, well, our stuff got pulled, and yeah, our stuff got pulled too, and it's just starts to build. Now, what Jez says is the following: "I'm not doubting the idea that Microsoft canceled discussions, but it has been used to frame an idea that Xbox is done completely with third-party deals for Xbox Game Pass." I mean, not really. The way that it's described, it says it's pausing or at least slowing down, which, I mean, this also would indicate at the very least a slowdown. And it also makes sense that Xbox is truly in a financially dire strait that they would probably pump the brakes before signing new stuff while they get their ducks in a row. So I don't think it necessarily means that they're completely done. I think it, like they said, it could just be indicative of slowing down, but anyway, right now Xbox is undergoing something of a reset with new CEO Asha Sharma and CSO Matthew Ball reviewing practically every corner of the business, including deals like the above. Microsoft's fiscal year is ending too, where budgets will be allocated or reallocated. Microsoft is exploring closing down an entire studio at Xbox as part of this review, so it stands to reason that some ID at Xbox deals might have been skewered in the crossfire. I know that at least one example of a third-party Game Pass deal that didn't go through as a direct result of July re-budgeting. As you can see, Idle Sloth tweeted, Xbox is reportedly suspending adding third-party games on Xbox Game Pass. Multiple independent developers have confirmed during the first playable. That's just what we read before. This says it originates from Xstasis, who has a history of sharing debunked rumors, but they're saying it started from the CEO of Arrowhead. From this, are they saying that Xstasis hosts the podcast and therefore what the CEO of Arrowhead said? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If they're saying that it wasn't the CEO of Arrowhead and it's just a made-up quote, that's one thing. But if they're saying that it's debunked because it was shared by Xstasis, but it's a quote from the CEO of Arrowhead, I mean, I don't see how that dismisses the claim. But anyway, for somebody who works in publishing, who has had games in Game Pass, won't say more. This isn't even remotely true. Crazy thing to spread, says Darkus Ducrest, I'm not sure who that is, but says that he's put games on Game Pass with Shoreline Games. I'm not familiar. I'm sure they're great games. I'm just not familiar with that studio. I think with all this, let's see, they continue on, but that doesn't mean deals forever. Indeed, at least one industry publishing figure, Stephen Ducrest, poured cold water on the rumors earlier, saying it wasn't remotely true. Even if some, I mean, also, like, is he gonna be privy to the deals that are being made at every studio? I don't understand how that makes sense, but okay. Even if some deals had fallen through, I would expect as soon as next week or the week after, when Microsoft's next fiscal year starts, discussions for funding will immediately resume. The bottom line is simple: Xbox Game Pass needs content in order to operate. The Xbox rumored to be getting first-party content, I expect, or with them rumored to be getting first-party content, I expect it to lean more into third-party deals rather than less. But hey, Microsoft works in mysterious ways, as we all know. I have reached out to Microsoft and other sources to get some firm clarification, but wanted to clarify some thoughts ahead of that. I'll update this article with more info soon. And there has since been no clarification since then. He put it out, and that's where we are. Now, of course, we're talking about rumors. It's literally he said, she said. It's the CEO of Arrowhead saying, allegedly, that he's at dinner and at lunch talking with people, and that this is spreading and could indicate a strategic shift for them. To me, I don't really understand what the big controversy with the discourse is. It kind of makes sense to me. If they are financially in a really bad spot, it makes sense that they would pump the brakes before, like, deciding to do anything else. Like, hey, we might still do a deal later this year. We're going to pump the brakes while we get our ducks in a row, and then we'll come back and we'll figure it out. That makes sense to me. I don't know why people would then conclude that therefore Xbox is going to completely stop doing deals with third-party publishers. I mean, I guess some people might jump on that and might try to console war about it. Maybe that's where this is starting. But to me, it just makes sense. Like, they have no money. They need to figure out better ways to spend money. So they are reevaluating their options. I mean, that makes sense to me. But maybe there's another piece of it. A lot of people want a clear answer for Xbox. They want a clear direction. They want to understand what's happening. And the truth of the matter is that Xbox, I think, is actively figuring out what that is. They're actively laying people off, restructuring, redoing budgets. They're trying to untangle a pretty big mess. So I don't think there is a clear answer. I think they're figuring it out themselves. And that's just frustrating for the fans and for the customers because they don't know what the direction is, and it's because nobody knows. So I think that they'll pause doing any sort of green lighting of any budgets. Like, I don't think Microsoft is green lighting any projects right now unless it's like Elder Scrolls or Fallout related. I don't think they're green lighting anything unless it's a lock and loaded, easy, obvious success. Anything else is fair game to be cut, reevaluated, shuffled, delayed, whatever. And that includes third-party publishing deals. And it might mean that also, like, they go back and they renegotiate stuff. It could be that, like, all of those EA games they have on the platform, maybe they reevaluate that, and they go, actually, we can't pay you as much for those. So if you want to keep them on, great, we got to pay you less. Stuff like that's going to happen. And maybe as part of those negotiations, stuff gets pulled for a week and then put back on for a week and then pulled again while negotiations are falling apart. Then they figure it out and it's on forever. Like, I think that this is just what happens when a company is in really bad financial straits and they got to figure out a way to untangle it. Anybody who's like running with this saying, boom, no third-party stuff ever again, that obviously is ridiculous. But I also don't find this quotation from, again, the CEO of Arrowhead. I don't find any of this to be particularly surprising. Like, it just makes sense to me. But like, yeah, they're in a bad financial spot. They're probably pausing any sort of green lighting of anything until they know what the deal is. Like, I just don't know why this would be so controversial. But, you know, I never doubt the power of Twitter to take something that seems pretty mundane and then get really, really, really upset about it. That's just how it works, man. That's just how it works. Anyway, I think all of this being said, they're figuring it out. I just think, again, early July, that's when the hammer falls, man. That's when things are gonna go crazy, because the fiscal year ends for Microsoft, and then all bets are off. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like, I expect Friday is gonna be a rough day. I mean, Friday they're gonna be doing mass layoffs. There's gonna be a lot of articles coming out later this week, for sure.
Today is the day we could find out, can the Warriors get LeBron James? Many people actually think it's going to happen today. So the first thing that happened, Draymond Green yesterday, Burley, said, I'm going to decline my option. Doesn't mean he's leaving. It means he's opening the doors for potentially bringing LeBron to the Warriors. Here's Draymond. My decision to opt out was for a few reasons. As you all know, I've always taken the approach of working with the organization. I've been in one place for 14 years. It's more of a family to me than anything. Like, you're talking people I've been in relationships with over the course of the past 14 years. I view Golden State more like Michigan State. Like, it's more like an alma mater for me, as I've been somewhere for 14 years. So when in a position to try to help better our team, to try to help better this organization, I am always intrigued by that route. And it is official. It was announced during the Draymond Green soundbite. LeBron James has informed the Lakers he will play elsewhere next season. And I've got to be honest, LeBron's doing the Lakers a break. They want to show him the door and be the bad guys. This is like a couple that's going to get divorced and he or she cheats so you can back out anyway and not be the bad person. The Lakers didn't want to sign him, but they didn't want it to be clunky. And so this is LeBron's way. The Lakers are being real smart here. Give Rob Pelinka and the Lakers they're being real smart here. They're letting LeBron tell the story. LeBron's, I'm not interested. Rich Paul, we're looking elsewhere. This was the plan for the Lakers. They didn't want to re-sign him. But they didn't want to bury him. They didn't want bad blood. The Lakers, this is the classy way to do it. Let the player announce, hey, I'm out of here. I've got better options. Because first of all, I'd love to see him play with Steph Curry. He's still a very good player. He's still an asset. Put him on Christmas. Steph and LeBron and Pons and Draymond and Yaxel Lendeborg. I'm all excited for that. Not going to win a title, but be a hell of a lot of fun. But the Lakers didn't want to do it. Lakers are interviewing you the next couple of days. The center from Detroit, the big defensive kid. That's who they really want to sign. If they wanted to sign LeBron, they would have. And did you notice over the last 2 weeks, every time, every story that was leaking that had any information with LeBron kept leaking? That was LeBron trying to put pressure on the Lakers. Always going here, always going there. Interest in Miami. That was all leaked from the LeBron side. They were trying to create a market, and there really isn't one. It was Lakers and Warriors, and that's it. He's not going to Detroit. I'd love to see him go to Miami. I doubt it. Could, but I doubt it. Cleveland, I don't buy it. But this is the way to do it. The really nice organizations. And remember when the Rams moved off Jared Goff? I'm not saying Goff, LeBron, but remember when they did? Sean McVay still apologizes for it. He's like, I didn't like the way it landed. I didn't like, the signal, the bat signal to the league was we're getting rid of this really successful and nice kid. The Rams hated the way that landed. McVay feels to this day he apologizes for it. And nobody's upset with him. Goff's great, Stafford's great, McVay's amazing. But as an organization, I own a small company. I don't want to bury employees. Sometimes you let people go. Sometimes you want them to go. Sometimes you call people and go, could you hire them? Because I don't meet them when I don't want to fire them. And could you please hire them for me? The Lakers are doing a solid here. They're letting LeBron and Rich Paul go to Shams, go to Chris Haynes, and say, we're moving on. We've got a lot of options. They don't. But I do think the Warriors is a real one. It would be great. I'd be rooting for LeBron. It would be fantastic. It says here from Shams, Rob Pelinka, Rich Paul spoke a short time ago about the four-time champions' plans. James said, yeah. Star free agencies tonight out of courtesy and appreciation for their run together allow LA to conduct its off-season business. So the Lakers more than LeBron, because I've said LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves are duplication. Times you got to take a step back in sports to eventually move forward. When the Lakers parted with Shaq, they knew for the first couple of years, Shaq going to Miami with D Wade, they knew they were going to be better than the Lakers. Lakers knew we're going to have to eat a dirt sandwich for a couple of years to Shaq's going to win a title, and they did. But in the end, the Lakers won 2 more. They got Pau Gasol, who played better and was closer with Kobe Bryant, and they won 2 more titles. So like the Warriors, and if you just tune in, LeBron saying he's going to explore his options, Laker career is over. For the record, he was there 8 years. He won a COVID title. The 7 other years, really mid. Let's be honest. They won 3 total playoff series in those other 7 years, and they're a mile from it right now. So you got to take a step back. Last year, the Lakers won 53 games. My guess is going to be closer to 43 to 47 wins next year, if they land a really good center. LeBron moving on clears up some money that can get down to business. But last year he averaged 21, 6, and 7, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Only 4 other guys in the NBA did that. He may not equal that again next year. He'll miss some games. He has older minutes come down. But he and Steph and Draymond will be a great watch. Can't wait to watch. I'll be rooting for him. Put it on TV in Christmas against the NFL. But sometimes you gotta take a step back to take 2 or 3 steps forward. I've said it all year long. JJ Redick and Luka are the future of the Lakers. Now build a team around him. Ideally, you could have gotten Austin Reeves for about 60% of what they paid him, but you were trapped. You probably should have signed him a year ago. You were trapped. You couldn't let him walk out and get nothing. So for 1 year, who Golden State, if they're healthy, may be the better team at the end of the year over the Lakers, because LeBron's going to have a total chip on his shoulder. And last year, the Warriors were 24-19 when Steph was healthy. Now you add LeBron. You had 20 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. So, you know, I again, when Curry was healthy, about 40-ish, 44 games, about half an NBA season, they were better than average, slightly. LeBron's going to help a lot. His size, his intelligence. But I'll say it again. The Lakers did this the right way. These new owners from the Dodgers know what they're doing. They didn't want to sign him. I don't think Pelinka and Jeannie Buss would have had the courage or the foresight to let him walk. Jeannie Buss didn't want me bad PR. She's, you know, in the community of LA. Everybody's friend. Everybody loves Jeannie. Would she have had the guts to let him walk? I don't believe so. Guts, courage, whatever you want to call it. She has the business savvy. I don't think she would have done it for the brand in kind of honor of her late father, the brand, the Lakers. But this ownership group has let Cody Bellinger go and Manny Machado go and Trey Turner go, and great players in baseball. So they didn't want to re-sign LeBron. They really didn't. I trust my sources. They didn't want to do it, but they didn't want to be bullies. They didn't want to be like, hey, get it out of here. Rich Paul, don't want to alienate Rich Paul. You want to let Rob Pelinka deserves credit. He allows Rich Paul to at least publicly win. Rich Paul and LeBron announced they got a lot of options. And Rob Pelinka can, you know, get the dirt sandwich for a day. Everybody behind the scenes knows what's going on here. But Pelinka has a new contract. He's got the backing of the Dodger, now Laker owners. This is a smart move by Rob. This is a, hey, I guarantee them, this is what they've been talking about for a week. Lakers and LeBron were talking, hey, how do we make this land so we don't crap on Rich Paul, who could have great players that we want to sign. We want to let this be dignified for Rich Paul and LeBron. They know a lot of people in the league, a lot of tentacles, a lot of relationships. Let's not crap on them. Let's let them win the PR game today. So they announce, Rich Paul and LeBron, we're out of here on our terms. Okay. Sometimes you have to do that, fellas. Sometimes you have to let somebody else win for the greater good of the organization. It was the Lakers had to choose a path, and the path they're all in on JJ Redick and Luka. This is really this is business 101.
We bringin' good energy.
This has been Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. From our cast, we thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Made it.